and two, and we'll start from the Gemara. In the Gemara, in the Mishnah, we learned that you were obligated to pay if your teven, if your straw in Rosh Hashanah caused damage, and anyone was allowed to keep it. The Gemara now says, Lema masnisin. Let us say, or shall we say, that our Mishnah, like Rabbi Yehuda, is not like Rabbi Yehuda? Shall we say that our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yehuda? Lema is, I like to say, let us say, but it's really, shall we say that our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yehuda? And that would be a problem. And I'm not sure why it's a problem. A Mishnah doesn't have to be Rabbi Yehuda, but it's a question that the Gemara seems to it wants to clarify. Will this be a problem according to Rabbi Yehuda? Can Rabbi Yehuda agree with our Mishnah? Many times it doesn't want the Mishnah to not be Reb Meir because there was no name on it, but for whatever reason, the Gemara is asking, shall we say it's not our Mishnah is not Rabbi Yehuda? Just to clarify, we spoke out several times that do not make the mistake that Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah is Rabbi, which is Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. Rather, whenever the Mishnah says Rabbi Yehuda, or a Brisa or a Mishnah says Rabbi Yehuda, it's always Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Loi, and he was one of the students of Rabbi Akiva. He was a friend of Rabbi Meir, one of those five students. And the interesting thing is that with the Gemara, there's a Gemara later, Baba Kama, that says in Perak Achayvel or in Meruba, it says that whenever the Gemara says Maisa b'Chassid Echad, that there's a story with a Chassid, it's referring to either Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Loi or Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, which is this Rabbi Yehuda is Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Loi. Now, don't confuse that with that Rav Yehuda that we had before of the Gemara, Amar Rav Yehuda. This Rav Yehuda right there, that's Rav Yehuda. That's Rav Yehuda Bar Yecheskel. That's an Amira. That was a student of Rav, a student of Shmuel, opened the yeshiva in Pumbedisa. That's someone else. This Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Loi, his grave happens to be right outside Tzfat, and it's like in a cave. It's a very beautiful spot. Okay, so shall we say our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yehuda? The Tanya, as we learned in a Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda says, B'shasi tzas volim. There was a time, a season, when they would take out their fertilizer. Hitzas is taking out. And zvolim is fertilizer. At the time of the taking out the fertilizer, they would need it to fertilize their fields. So Adam Maitzi Zivli, a person can take out his fertilizer, Lirish Sarabim, into the Rish Hashanah, Vitzavrei. And he can, I'm careful to put the comma there, and he can pile it up, Kol Shleishim Yaim, for all 30 days. And there was a 30-day period when you were allowed to leave your Zevel in the Rish Hashanah, and there was no problem. You were allowed to do that. Now, let me turn that into a comma instead of a period. So it would seem from this right here that if you're allowed to do it, then it will not fit with our Mishnah that says that, oh, you put out your straw in Rosh Hashanah, it's gonna, if it causes damage, you're gonna be chayiv. Here, there's no problem. Kadeshi nishaf baragli adam baragli behema, so that it should get crushed or kicked. Let's translate it as crushed. I hope that's correct. Crushed by the human feet or animal feet. Yeah, and that would improve the fertilizer. Because on this condition, we'll do on condition, and it's actually on this condition. Hinchil means inherit. Yeshua inherited the land. So in other words, when we came into the land, Yeshua set up the rules, and he said that the rule is that no one can protest against other people putting their fertilizer into the street so that it will improve and the owners can come out and recollect it and put it back on their fields. Okay. Just to get a little bit of an understanding, we eat food, fruits and vegetables when they're fresh, but the field happens to eat them when they're spoiled and rotten and disintegrating, and those minerals will come out of it. It could be dry leaves, all types of stuff. It could be manure. All of those things will add the minerals back into the field, nitrogen or whatever. Okay. Um, it seems clear that Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that Yehoshua, when he took us into the land of Israel, this is Yeshua ben Nun, he made a condition with us that you must allow people to put their fertilizer into the field, would hold that if this fertilizer would cause damage, you would be pater. So it seems that our Mishnah that says Yechayev doesn't fit with Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara answers. What I did, I put the blue, the Brisa, and I put the Gemara questioning and the Gemara answering in purple, so you can get that the layers of the Gemara, how it's quoting an older source. And okay, so the Gemara says Afilu Tema Rabbi Yehuda. Put a comma there. You can even say, even if you say that it's Rabbi Yehuda, but Maida Rabbi Yehuda would admit. Wait, does admit? Whoops, admit. Im hizik, that if it causes damage, mishalim mashe hizik, that you still have to pay for it. So just that he said that you're allowed to do it, or Yeshua made a condition that you should be allowed to do it, that does not mean that whatever happens, you're going to be pater. You're allowed to put it out there, and let's assume that it doesn't cause damage. But if it does cause damage, then you would actually have to pay for it. It would make sense to say, and I think this is the pshat, that the things that you're allowed to put out are things that would normally not cause damage. So it may not be referring to Tevin and Kash. It's referring to other types of fertilizer that you would be allowed to do. But things that are actually slippery and would cause damage, that's you're not allowed to cause the damage. So we're talking about things that would normally not cause the damage, but nevertheless, if they did, then you would have to pay for it.